This is just going to be a video on, well, exactly what the title says. Wins, losses, greatness, failures, whatever, And I was thinking about the times in my life where this video is mostly going to be about the times I've hurt my bank account. I've hurt my bank account, you know, because I think that this will, if you learn anything from this video, it's that you got to stay patient and you got to stay humble and you got to, just, don't, be happy with what you have, So this pretty much starts off, let's say a few months ago. I had saved up quite a bit of money for I'll just call it a vehicle investment, but whatever. It was a vehicle that I'd saved up for to try to flip. Flipping is not actually like making the vehicle roll over, but just flipping it for more than what I paid for. And I worked on this thing for a while. I was fixing it up because the interior was just, it was extremely dirty, just really gross. No way I was gonna sell it. No oil pressure reading. Had terrible oil actually as well. And anyways, and so I sell. Well, before I get to me selling it, let me just say it took a long time for me to sell that vehicle. And I would look at that truck in the driveway of the shop, and it was just like, oh man, is it ever gonna sell? Is it ever gonna sell? I have no money. It was all my money. I was 110% invested in this thing financially, and it taught me another good lesson to, that's probably not the smartest idea, but it worked out, so it's okay. I probably won't do that again. But yeah, anyways, I have a ton of money tied up in this thing. Is it ever gonna sell? And I had to get help, selling it. But at the end of the day, it sold. I'm holding more money at that point than I had, ever held. And I'm not bragging. It's just on what the video is about. It just is what it is. It was a lot, So I felt really, really, really good. Really good. And I'm like, oh man, I hit the number that I finally wanted. It was over. So a few months back, before I even thought about getting this truck, I'd saved up about $7,500, and I was trying to get to 10,000. Well, I went way over 10,000, and I was like, oh yeah, man, I'm never, it's good. Like, I'm just gonna keep it, gonna save it, gonna just hold on to it as much as I can. And I'm just, oh yeah, like I was feeling really good. And now I was like, oh man, I can't. I was not staying humble was the problem. I was not staying humble, and that really, really came back to bite me. I was like, oh man, I can't believe I just was all right with having my $7,500, and now I got all this. It was really like I was being stupid. Was not staying humble whatsoever. And I had well, and I knew someone, and I'm not blaming them for my losses. It's my own doing because I wasn't staying patient. But this is just part of the story. Um, who talked who talked to me a little bit about options trading, and he was like, like you should really learn it, because it's a way to make money online, and it sounded great. It sounded great, and I was gonna try to turn this money into 20,000 in like 2 months, like way too short of time. And I poured everything into learning options trading. I could tell you everything about options trading. I know it very well. Bought a book for it, watched all the videos I could on it, started up I started up a Robinhood and a Webull account, so that tells you something. And well, short story, I'm down like 4,000, like $3,800 off of this money that I made on the truck. And when I was at the money or over $10,000, I was at 14 and a half. And now I'm down to 10 grand. And I know it's like boo-hoo, but that's not the point. The point is that I was happy with what I had, and now it's just dwindled and it's just dwindled and it's dwindled, all because I was just not staying patient or humble or nothing. I was just failing to do any of that. Wasn't being patient, doing terrible decisions on my options, and it was just stupid. Because I had always been a very good budgeter. I could stick to a budget, no problem. Yeah, I just always have been. But then the money starts, rolling out, and I'm actually doing good for like a month because in options trading, the first one's always free, as they say. And I'm doing great, And it's actually looking like, wow, like this might actually happen. I flipped $300 into 900. Well, then I went into Ford and lost all of it into Ford, pretty much. And then I opened up a Webull and I poured $1,800 in there. No fear. I was like, yeah. I'm talking to myself. I'm hyping myself up. I'm like, man, I'm gonna turn $1,800 into 20 grand. Something just stupid like that, Well, I lose my $1,800. I turned $1,800 into $3,300. Yeah. Almost like, what is that? Like a 60% return? I was killing the S&P. I was doing great. Well, again, I just wasn't staying humble. I wasn't being patient. And that money went away. I never even cashed out. I never got it in my bank account. And I would have had at that point, let's think about this, over probably, I think 17 grand at that point, because that was pretty early on. So yeah, a 17 grand, I would need $3,000 more to get to my goal of 20,000. Now I'm down to 10. And then, before I went down to 10, and I was at $12,000. Okay. Well, I loaded up. I put 2 grand in there. Again, because I'm down 38 and a half. So I load up 2K. I'm like, alright, I'm not going to make them same mistakes. I lost it in 2 weeks. I think most. Not even 2 weeks, man. I wouldn't think. It's down to $181. That 2 grand. And it's still in JetBlue. Not financial advice. Not financial advice. You didn't hear that from me. But it is in a stock. Okay. Well, now I'm down to 10 grand. I don't know what to do. And I'm looking for more investments. And, I'm so mad at myself because I was so over the top with $14,500, and now I'm down to 10. When I gotten that money, I was like, oh man, I'm just gonna hold on to it as long as I can. I was actually gonna be patient, and then it all got thrown out the window for some fast money. And if you take anything away from this video, it's that just besides don't option trade. Well, you can option trade, but if that's not what I want you to take away from this video. The video is all about being happy with what you have, because if you're not, I promise you will end up probably losing it. There's nothing wrong with that $20,000 number. The problem was the way and the time I was going to try to get that money. Let's say you're living in a $250,000 house. All right, that's just a number example, okay? $250,000 house, it's just a normal, it's just a example. And you're like, oh yeah, I bought my first house. I'm so happy. And then and you definitely want to upgrade in the future. Well, you're living in the house for about 6 months and you're already used to the house and you're like, well, I got this house. Let's see what I can upgrade to. Because, if you're anything like me, you always try to go for something nicer. And I really got to work on that, I think. Again, there's nothing wrong with wanting a nicer house. It's the time frame and the way you're going to do it. And if you're just trying to do it as fast as you can, you don't want to put in any effort, you're going to end up losing them all. So you sell, like, let's just say, for example, you sell your $250,000 house and you actually make money on it. Let's just say, for example, you make $350,000. Oh, well, I was already doing stuff that was outlandish. So theoretically, let's do another outlandish claim. I want $1 million house or $500,000 house. Well, you invest a lot of money into stuff, and it's just like you're just blinding. It's like a shotgun. You're going off, you're investing in all this random stuff that's inevitably, I didn't say that right, but who cares? It's just going to fail. All right, that's what I'm trying to say. And you're like, oh, I'm going to make a ton of money off these investments. Well, no, you fail. And deep down, and now you're down to $150,000. So you lost your initial investment, and you can't even buy that $250,000 house anymore. All because you weren't staying humble. I promise you, if you just stay focused and you just don't try to get that fast money all the time, every once in a while, if you can just pop in, pop out, that's fine. But if you're going to try to make your living off of just fast money, it will come back to haunt you. I promise. Like, if you're just doing real fast money, options trading is the fastest money you can get. It's the fastest money you can get. You click 2 buttons, you're in, you're out. That money's right there. And I'm just using options trading for example. But it's just, that's the fastest money you could ever make. I made $1,000 in 4 hours one time on Webull. And again, I'm not saying that to brag. That's just how it was. I was down to $1,000 off of that. This is when I had the $1,800 invested. I dwindled it down. I panic bought Apple. I made $1,000 on a 3-day option. And I was back even. I was actually up. I was up like $200. And I still didn't cash. I was being an idiot. I wasn't being patient or logical. But that's what happens when you're just so caught up on a number that you just want really bad, but you're going about it in such a terrible way, like a way that would definitely implode, and it's gonna implode. Deep down, it's gonna implode, and it does implode, and then you implode again. You do it all over again. You do it again. You're like, oh, I'm never gonna do that ever again. 3 months go by even. Oh, well, here I go. I'm doing it again. And you can use that with so many more stories, but I'm just using it for this one. I'm telling you, if you just stay patient, you will eventually get to that number. But back to the house. So you can't even buy that $250,000 house anymore. And now you're just stuck. You're stuck. Because there's no more investments going on right now. You're scared. You don't want to invest any more money. You just lost 200 grand. You were up to 350. You were happy. You were awesome. You made 100 grand off that sell. Oh, well, I lost the initial investment, and now I can't buy the $250,000 house anymore. So you don't want to invest. This all could have been avoided if you just stayed patient. And worked. I'm just going to say honestly. If you just worked honestly, didn't try to get that fast money, were in it for the long run, you definitely would have gotten to that number. And there would have been no setbacks. You would have been comfortable. You really would have been. But no, you had to get that fast money, and it imploded on itself faster than Ocean Gate. And now you're I was going to say you're cooked, but you're just stuck. You're just stuck. Like, you can't, you don't want to make another investment. You're just stuck there. And now you got to work your way all the way back up. and it is miserable. You put yourself in a more miserable situation. I was only 5 grand away from my goal. Now I'm 10. I'm 10. I'm 10,000. I'm $10,000 away. And I remember when I wanted $10,000 so bad, and now I got to do it all over again. I got to make another $10,000 to get to my goal. And it's just crazy. It just goes by so fast. All because I wasn't staying patient. Humble or nothing, man. Nothing. And it really just it sucks. It sucks. It really does suck. So if you took anything away from this video, it's that you gotta I'm telling you, if you're in a spot right now where you got a goal and it seems so far away, I promise you, if you just work for it and don't cut corners, I promise you, you will get to that goal. I swear. That's my TED Talk. Yeah. That's all I really gotta say here. So.